She was just a poor waitress struggling to care for her sick mother. One day, she showed kindness to a hungry old man, unaware that her life was about to change forever. But who exactly was this man, and what secret was he hiding? Sit back and discover this powerful story. Music. In the heart of Lagos stood the Royal Palm Restaurant, a place where the rich gathered to enjoy fine meals and soft music, a place that made others feel unwelcome. The air carried the aroma of expensive dishes, and the sound of clinking glasses filled the hall. Waiters rushed back and forth with trays, but among them was Camila, a 25-year-old whose tired eyes betrayed her struggles. She forced a smile with every plate she served, though her body ached from exhaustion. Each night after work, her sick mother waited for her at home. Camila was the only one providing medicine, rent, and food. Carrying plates of steaming rice and chicken, she heard her friend Elena whisper, "Camila, you look so tired. Are you all right?" She nodded faintly. "I'll be fine, Elena. I just need to finish this shift. My mom needs her medicine. If I stop working, who will help her?" Elena sighed in silence, pity in her eyes. The moment Camila noticed her manager's shadow across the floor, her heart tightened. Mr. Jeremy, tall and sharply dressed, stepped out of his office. To the customers, he looked like a refined gentleman, but to the staff, he was merciless. His gaze locked on Camila as she wiped a table. "Camila," his voice boomed. She turned quickly, bowing slightly. "Yes, sir." His frown deepened. "Why do you always look so weak? Customers don't want to see tired faces. If you can't keep up, then leave and don't come back." Camila swallowed hard, forcing a smile. "I'm fine, sir. I'll do better." Jeremy leaned closer, his voice sharp. "In this place, appearance is everything. Rich people don't want poverty near them. Look sharp, smile wide, and never forget, if you look poor you have no value here." With that, he adjusted his suit and walked away, leaving her shaken. She whispered under her breath, "I will endure for my mom's sake." That evening, the restaurant was full. Wealthy men laughed loudly, while women in glittering jewelry sipped wine, pretending the world belonged to them. Waiters hurried nervously under Jeremy's watchful eyes. Then the glass door opened slowly, and silence swept the room. An elderly man walked in, his shirt torn, trousers full of holes, his bare feet striking the polished floor. His hair was unkempt, his face rough. Forks froze midair, glasses stopped halfway to lips. A woman in red quickly covered her nose. "Who allowed this man in? Poverty doesn't belong here," she hissed. Another customer muttered, "Is this a joke? Look at him, barefoot in this place." Even some waiters turned away, embarrassed. Camila, standing near the corner, held her tray tighter. Something about his calm steps caught her eye. The man's name was Joshua. Though his clothes were torn, he walked with quiet confidence. He didn't bow his head, didn't beg, didn't flinch. He moved as though he belonged there. A young rich man sneered. "Waiter, throw him out before he ruins my appetite." Joshua turned slowly, his steady gaze falling on the young man. He said nothing, but his silence carried such weight that the young man quickly looked away. Elena whispered, "Camila, do you see this? He doesn't look afraid at all." "Who is he?" Camila murmured softly, "I don't know, but there's something about him. He walks like he belongs here." From the corner, Jeremy spotted him. His face hardened immediately. To him, a poor man inside his restaurant was a stain on perfection. He snapped his fingers at the guards. "Remove him before he embarrasses us," he ordered. But before they could move, Camila stepped forward. Her hands trembled slightly, but she forced a gentle smile and bowed her head. "Good evening, sir. Would you like a table?" The hall went still. Glasses rattled, forks clattered, and every eye turned to her in disbelief. A woman whispered, "Is she mad? She's welcoming him." Another man scoffed. "She must have lost her mind. Who treats a beggar like that here?" Jeremy's jaw clenched, his eyes burning with fury, but he said nothing, only folded his arms and watched. Joshua's eyes softened as he looked at Camila. For the first time that night, he smiled faintly. "Yes, my daughter. A table would be nice." Camila nodded respectfully. "Please follow me." She led him with steady steps across the wide restaurant. Whispers followed like shadows. Some guests covered their mouths in disgust, others shook their heads, certain she had signed her own punishment. But Camila ignored them. She guided him to a corner table. Not hidden, but not in the center either. A fair place. She pulled out a chair. "Please, sir, sit here." Joshua sat with his back straight, calm and unashamed, like a man who knew exactly what he was doing. Camila handed him a menu with both hands as though he were the most important guest in the hall. "Here's our menu, sir. Please take your time." From the side, Elena whispered to another waiter, "Look at Camila. She's treating him like royalty." The waiter smirked. "She's finished. Jeremy will destroy her after this." But Camila ignored every stare and judgment. She stood with quiet dignity, ready to serve him like any other guest. Jeremy could not take it anymore. His polished shoes struck hard against the tiles as he stormed across the floor. Forcing a smile, he leaned close to Camila, his voice sharp and low. "Camila, what nonsense is this? We don't serve people like him here. Look at his clothes, he can't pay." Jeremy's words cut through the silence. Camila's heart raced, but her face stayed calm. She met his eyes and spoke softly. "Sir, with all respect, if he orders and pays, he is a customer like anyone else." The smile faded from his lips, anger flashing in his eyes. "You forget your place, Camila. Don't test me." But she didn't move. With quiet firmness, she bowed her head slightly and repeated, "He is still a man, sir. Let him eat." The entire restaurant held its breath. Jeremy's jaw tightened as he hissed, "Fine. But if he causes trouble, it will be on your head. Do you understand me?" Camila nodded gently. "Yes, sir." He spun around and walked away, fury in every step. Some customers whispered, waiting to see what would happen next. Joshua sat calmly, still studying the menu as if nothing had happened. Camila leaned closer and asked softly, "Would you like something to drink while you decide?" He raised his eyes, a faint smile on his lips. "A glass of water will do." She nodded and hurried to the kitchen. A few waiters shook their heads, one whispering, "She's asking for trouble. Jeremy won't forgive this." Elena, however, whispered back, "Maybe. But she's braver than all of us." When Joshua finally placed his order, his voice was steady. "I'll have jollof rice. No meat, no chicken, just rice." Camila's eyes softened. Most customers here wouldn't touch such a simple meal, but he spoke with no shame, only quiet dignity. She bowed slightly. "All right, sir. Jollof rice it is." When the food was ready, she carried the plate carefully and set it before him as though serving the richest man in the hall. "Please enjoy your meal, sir." Joshua smiled faintly. "Thank you, my daughter." He ate slowly, every bite measured, as though time itself belonged to him. But peace didn't last long. At a nearby table, a man in a gold cap stood abruptly, his voice sharp. "So this is what we pay for? I thought this was a 5-star restaurant, yet beggars eat beside us." A woman with heavy jewelry joined in. "Soon we'll see them lining up for free food outside." "I am disappointed." Jeremy, who had been watching from the bar, straightened his tie and marched over. His voice carried across the hall. "I hope you have money to pay for that meal," he sneered. "We don't run a charity here." Joshua lifted his head slowly, calm eyes meeting Jeremy's. The air grew tense. Even Camila held her breath. But Joshua simply finished his meal, wiped his mouth with a napkin, and raised his hand gently. "Waitress," he called softly. Camila hurried over. "Yes, sir. Do you need anything else?" He shook his head. "Just the bill." The restaurant fell silent again. Some customers leaned forward, eager to watch his humiliation. Jeremy folded his arms, waiting. Camila placed the bill gently before Joshua. He reached into the pocket of his torn trousers and pulled out wrinkled notes, torn at the edges. Carefully, he laid them down. 100 here. 50 there. He counted twice, his expression calm. But when he was done, it was clear the money was not enough. He sighed and looked at her quietly. "It seems I miscalculated. This is all I have." Before she could respond, he added with dignity, "But I can wash dishes in the kitchen to make up for it." "I don't mind." Laughter broke out across the hall. Jeremy's disgust showed plainly as he stepped closer, his voice booming so all could hear. "Wash plates in my kitchen? Do you think this is a roadside shop? This is the Royal Palm restaurant. But Joshua didn't flinch. His calm gaze remained fixed, unshaken by the laughter or the insults. Camila's heart pounded. She could feel the trap closing, yet something in his voice carried strength, a quiet power that made her believe this wasn't the end. Jeremy's anger boiled over. He slammed his hand against a nearby table, making glasses tremble. Enough! Guards, seize this man. I'll teach him a lesson he won't forget. Two security men in black and red uniforms stepped forward. Rich guests leaned back, smirking, ready to watch him dragged out like trash. But before they reached him, Camila moved quickly, standing in front of Joshua. Her voice trembled but held firm. Please wait. Just give me a moment, I beg you. The guards hesitated and looked to Jeremy. His face hardened, but with a sharp wave of his hand, he allowed it, curious to see what she would do. Without delay, Camila ran toward the staff dressing room. Her co-workers exchanged confused glances. Elena whispered, "What is she doing? Has she lost her mind?" Inside the cramped dressing room, Camila fumbled with her locker. With trembling hands, she pulled out her handbag. Inside was the money she had been saving for her mother's medicine. Tears filled her eyes as she clutched it tightly. "Mom needs this, but if I don't act now they'll hurt him," she whispered. Taking a deep breath, she pulled out part of the money and hurried back to the restaurant. Silence fell over the hall as everyone turned to watch. Her hands trembled as she stepped to the cashier's desk and placed the money firmly on the counter. The cashier glanced at the money, then at Mr. Jeremy. He hesitated until Jeremy gave a cold nod. The bill was settled. The room fell silent. The same wealthy men and women who had mocked Joshua only moments earlier now stared at Camila in disbelief. Some shifted uncomfortably in their seats. A woman whispered, "She's only a poor waitress, yet she gave her own savings for him." A man lowered his head and murmured, "Shame on us. With all our riches, none of us showed such kindness." Camila stood still, her chest rising and falling as Joshua looked at her with calm, steady eyes. For the first time, pride and laughter gave way to guilt and silence. Jeremy's expression darkened as he watched. His voice sliced through the heavy air, dripping with bitterness. "So, you suddenly have money to waste on charity?" Camila swallowed but did not back down. Her voice was quiet yet firm. "No, sir. It's not charity. I just couldn't keep what little I have while another person goes hungry." Her words spread through the hall like fire. Some lowered their eyes, ashamed. Others looked away, too proud to admit she had spoken the truth. Joshua rose slowly, his gaze soft. His voice carried weight though it was gentle. "Thank you, my daughter. You have a pure heart, and God will reward you sooner than you think." Camila's eyes glistened, but she bowed her head respectfully. Joshua straightened his shoulders and walked to the door. He didn't rush, didn't beg. He left with the same quiet dignity with which he had entered. When the door closed behind him, the restaurant remained still, his words echoing in the silence. The next morning, life in the restaurant resumed as usual. Waiters rushed to polish glasses and arrange tables. Camila arrived early, her face calm but her heart heavy. She knew Jeremy would not forgive what had happened. As expected, he appeared by the bar, arms folded, eyes cold. "Camila," he barked. She hurried over. "Yes, sir." His lips twisted into a sneer. "Since you have time to play savior, you'll have time for more work. From today, you will scrub the toilets, wash the floors, and clean after everyone has gone." Her heart sank, but she kept her head low. "Yes, sir," she whispered. He leaned closer, his words sharp. "Maybe next time you'll remember your place before you humiliate me in front of my customers." Camila bit her lip, swallowing the sting of injustice. She thought of her sick mother waiting at home and bowed her head. "I understand, sir. I'm sorry for yesterday." Then she turned away, holding back the tears burning her eyes. Later that afternoon, under the hot sun, she carried a black trash bag to the large bin by the fence. Her uniform was stained from scrubbing, but she worked quietly. As she lifted the cover, she noticed a figure approaching the gate. Her heart skipped. It was Joshua. His steps were weak, his face weary with hunger, his clothes still the same worn ones from before. He stopped a few meters away and gave her a small bow. Camila's expression softened. "Sir, how are you today?" Joshua nodded gently. "I am fine, my daughter. I thank you again for your kindness the last time." She lowered her eyes respectfully. "There's no need to thank me. I only did what was right." She studied him carefully and asked in a soft voice, "Have you eaten today?" Joshua shook his head slowly. "Not yet." Her chest tightened. She wanted to tell him she was still being punished for helping him, but she kept it to herself. Instead, she whispered, "Please wait by the gate. I'll be right back." He gave a slight nod and stepped aside. Camila hurried into the kitchen, her thoughts racing. The staff meals were already packed, each worker with a small portion of food for lunch. She picked up her own plate of plain rice, wrapped it carefully in black nylon, and held it close to her chest. "If I give this away, I won't eat today," she whispered. "But he needs it more than I do." Taking a steady breath, she returned to the gate. Joshua was waiting quietly. She bent slightly as she offered the small package. "Here, sir. Please eat this. It's not much, but it's something." Joshua accepted it slowly, his eyes full of gratitude. "My daughter, this is more than enough. Once again, you have shown kindness. May God bless you and may your goodness never go unrewarded." Camila gave a faint smile. Hunger already twisted in her stomach, but she kept silent about the sacrifice. What she didn't know was that her reward was already closer than she imagined. Unseen by her, Jeremy had been watching from behind the restaurant's glass doors. His eyes followed her every move, rage tightening his face as he saw her hand food to Joshua once again. Just as Joshua was about to leave with the food in his hand, the restaurant doors flew open. Jeremy stormed outside, his voice booming. "So now you steal my food to feed beggars? Camila, you're fired." Heads turned immediately. Security guards froze, waiting for instructions. Camila's heart dropped. She rushed forward, shaking her head. "No, sir, please. It wasn't stolen. I gave him my own lunch." Jeremy raised his hand sharply, cutting her off. "I don't care. Do you think I'll let any worker humiliate me in front of wealthy clients? You're finished here." Camila's chest tightened. She wasn't worried about herself, only her sick mother at home. Tears filled her eyes as she pleaded. "Sir, please. I have a sick mother who depends on me. Don't do this, I beg you." Before she could continue, Joshua stepped forward. His voice was calm but carried a strength that silenced everyone. "My daughter, don't be troubled. God sees everything. If this door closes, it is only because he will open a greater one for you." Jeremy threw back his head and laughed. "A greater door? Here in Lagos? Keep dreaming, old man." He turned to Camila and shouted while walking back inside, "Clear your locker immediately. You are no longer welcome here." Camila stood frozen, her world collapsing. Joshua gently slipped a hand into his pocket and pulled out an old mobile phone. Handing it to her, he said softly, "Type your number here, my daughter. I will need to reach you." Her hands trembled as she typed, not realizing that this single act was about to change her life. That evening, she walked home slowly, her shoulders heavy. Opening the door quietly, she stepped into their small room. Her mother, lying weakly on the bed, lifted her head and studied her daughter's face. "Camila, why do you look like someone who has been crying all day?" Camila forced a smile and wiped her eyes quickly. "No, Mama. I'm fine. Just work stress. Today was very busy." Her mother reached out weakly. "Are you sure? You know I can see through you." Camila kissed her hand gently. "I'm sure, Mama. Don't worry. Just take your medicine and rest." Her mother sighed, believing her words, and soon drifted to sleep. That night, Camila lay beside her, wide awake, staring at the ceiling. "What will I do now? How will I buy Mama's medicine without work?" she whispered to herself. Her heart clenched at the thought of her mother learning the truth. "I can't tell her. It will break her completely." Turning on her side, tears slipped down quietly so her mother wouldn't hear. In that moment, she made a decision. Tomorrow she would wake up, dress as though going to work, and spend each day searching for another job. Her mother would never suspect. "By God's grace, I'll find something soon," she told herself. The next morning, she carried out her plan. She woke early, dressed neatly, and left as though heading to the restaurant. Her mother smiled faintly from the bed, waving her off. For 5 days, Camila walked the streets of Lagos, knocking on doors of shops and restaurants. Everywhere she went, the answer was the same: "We're not hiring. Leave your number." Each evening, she returned home exhausted but forced a smile to keep her mother from suspecting. On the 6th morning, just as she prepared to step out again, her small phone rang. She grabbed it quickly. "Hello." A deep voice answered. "Hello, my daughter." Camila froze. She knew that voice. It was Joshua. Her voice trembled. "Sir, how are you?" "I should ask you that, my daughter," he said gently. "How have you been?" "I'm sorry I didn't call sooner after you lost your job because of me." Camila shook her head, though he could not see. "It's fine, sir. Please don't worry." Joshua's voice grew firm. "Please, do you have time this morning? There is something I want to show you. It's very important." Camila hesitated, her heart racing. She thought of her mother, of all the rejection she had faced the past week. After a long pause, she whispered, "Okay, sir." "Good," Joshua replied. "I will send you an address." Minutes later, a text arrived. Camila read it, frowning. The location was in a wealthy neighborhood she had only seen from afar. She boarded a bus, her thoughts troubled. Why would he send me to such a place? Could it be a mistake? Maybe he knows someone here who needs a housekeeper. The bus dropped her near the estate gates. The streets were spotless, lined with tall trees. The houses were massive, quiet, with high fences and heavy gates. Camila walked slowly until she reached the address. Before her stood a tall black gate. The silence was so deep she could hear her own heartbeat. She reached for her phone to call Joshua when the gate creaked open. A shiny black SUV rolled out slowly and stopped in front of her. The window lowered with a smooth hum, and Camila's eyes widened, her breath catching in her throat. Inside the SUV, seated with quiet dignity, was Joshua. But he was not the same ragged old man she had once pitied. Dressed in a fine tailored suit, his beard neatly trimmed, and his shoes polished to a shine, he looked like a man of great power. He smiled warmly at her. "My daughter, you are here already. Please come in. I owe you an explanation." Camila stood frozen, lips parted but no words forming. Her legs trembled as she stared at him in disbelief. The driver quickly stepped out, opened the back door, and bowed slightly. "Madam, please enter," he said politely. Still dazed, she walked slowly and sat beside Joshua. The soft leather seat, the faint fragrance of the car. It felt like another world entirely. Joshua cleared his throat and spoke gently. "First, let me say I am deeply sorry for everything you suffered because of me. You lost your job, you faced humiliation, and all of it happened because of how I appeared that day." Camila turned toward him, her voice barely steady. "Sir, I don't understand. Who are you?" He looked straight into her eyes. "The truth is, I am not poor. My name is Joshua Benson. I am a billionaire investor. That day, I dressed like a beggar to see how people treat the less fortunate." Camila's eyes widened again, her mind spinning as she tried to process his words. Joshua placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "Do you have anywhere important to be today?" She shook her head softly. "No, sir." "Good," he replied with a nod. "There is something I need you to see." The SUV drove through the busy streets of Lagos. For 20 minutes, Camila sat in silence, her hands folded in her lap, her heart racing. Finally, the car pulled up in front of a building she knew too well, the Royal Palm Restaurant, the very place she had been fired from. Her eyes darted to Joshua. "Sir, why are we here?" Joshua smiled calmly. "Just wait. You'll understand soon." Inside, the restaurant buzzed with life. Wealthy customers laughed, glasses clinked, and waiters hurried about. Suddenly, the doors opened and Joshua walked in, his driver and Camila by his side. But this time, he wasn't a beggar in rags. He was dressed in a sharp suit, his watch gleaming under the lights. His presence commanded silence. Some workers looked up and gasped. Whispers spread quickly. "Wait. Isn't that Joshua Benson, the billionaire investor? I've seen his name in the papers." At that moment, Jeremy, standing proudly near the bar, turned. The smile on his face vanished, the color draining from his cheeks. He froze, his jaw tightening as recognition struck him. He forced a laugh, though his voice shook. "So you tricked us? What do you want here, old man?" Joshua's eyes hardened. His voice was calm, yet it filled the room with authority. "After you fired Camila for showing kindness to someone in need, I made a decision. I bought this restaurant." The entire hall fell silent. Customers turned in their seats. Waiters stopped in their tracks. Joshua gestured to his driver, who handed him a thick file. Joshua lifted it for all to see. "Here are the legal documents. From today, this business belongs to me. And you, Jeremy, are no longer welcome here." Gasps echoed around the room. Some staff exchanged hopeful glances, relieved that their cruel manager had finally met his end. Jeremy's face went pale, his knees trembling. His proud shoulders slumped. He was finished. Joshua then turned to Camila, who stood speechless. His expression softened. "From now on, you are the new owner of this restaurant. Your kindness has opened this door." Camila's eyes filled with tears as she dropped to her knees. Her voice shook. "Thank you, sir. May God bless you for this. You have changed my life." Joshua quickly bent down and lifted her gently. "You don't need to thank me. Your kindness earned you this blessing. The glory belongs to God Almighty, who gave me the resources to do this." The hall remained silent, all eyes fixed on them. The poor waitress who had once been mocked for feeding a hungry man now stood as the owner of the very place she had been thrown out of. Her tears of sorrow had become tears of joy. Joshua turned once more to her. "My daughter, I remember you said your mother was ill. Is that true?" Camila's tears fell freely as she nodded. "Yes, sir. She has been sick for a long time. I've struggled to buy her medicine." Joshua placed a firm hand on her shoulder and smiled warmly. "Then take me to her." Not long after, the SUV stopped in front of Camila's small one-room home. Inside, her mother lay weakly on the wooden bed. She looked up in surprise as her daughter walked in with strangers. Camila rushed to her. "Mama, this is the man I told you about. The one I helped at the restaurant. He has changed our lives." Joshua stepped forward with respect, bowing his head slightly. "Good evening, madam. You raised a remarkable daughter. She showed me a kind of love the world often forgets, and because of her, I will make sure you never suffer again." Tears rolled down the woman's cheeks. Her voice trembled. "Sir, may God bless you. You don't know what this means to us." That same day, Joshua arranged for her to be taken to the best hospital in the country. Doctors attended to her immediately, and within weeks, her health improved. But Joshua didn't stop there. He moved Camila and her mother into a beautiful new apartment, spacious and comfortable, a place they had never dreamed of. As Camila stood in the living room of their new home, holding her mother's hand, she turned to Joshua with tears of joy. "Sir, you have changed our lives forever. We will never forget this." Joshua raised his hand gently. "Don't thank me, my daughter. Thank God, who gave me the grace to do this. Your kindness opened this door, and your life will never be the same again." Camila hugged her mother tightly, her tears soaking her shoulder. From that day forward, the poor waitress and her ailing mother stepped into a life of peace and joy. Their story became living proof that kindness is never wasted. Even when others mock you or treat you unfairly, do good anyway. For what you give returns to you in ways beyond imagination. Camila's small act of kindness brought blessings that changed her destiny forever. Truly, when you help others in their time of need, God will raise help for you when you least expect it. So, what do you think of this story? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And remember, another powerful story is coming soon. Make sure to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and share this with your loved ones. Someone out there may need this lesson today. Thank you for watching, and may God bless you always.